Hey, it's Mark from Songwriter's Tales with Mark and Craig. Craig's not here, but I want to go ahead and introduce tonight's episode. Atlanta music promoter icon Eddie Owen of Eddie's Attic fame is going to join us tonight and talk about the Atlanta music scene, where it was when he started, and where he's helped it get to today. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great show. So let's do it. Hey, it's Mark, and this is Songwriter's Tales with Mark and Craig. And Craig, who are we sitting here with? Who's this handsome gentleman staring at us?
I'll tell you, Mark, it's going to be a great podcast today. We always try to get the best out there, and we've got one of the best today. We've got Eddie Owen right here in Atlanta, Georgia, and Eddie is an iconic figure. Don't try to say that 3 times fast. He's an iconic figure in the music, in the local, especially the local songwriter, artist music. He has done more to help artists in their careers than anybody that I know personally. Starting off with Eddie's Attic, and then some of you, obviously, a lot of you will know that place, but now Eddie's at Eddie Owen Presents at Red Clay, and that's in Duluth, Georgia. And so we just want to get to know you and find out more about you, Eddie, because somebody like you that has done such wonderful things for local musicians, there must be a reason that you did that. So let's start the night off with getting the answer for that.
Well, the reason I think that, you left out one spot, and that was the Trackside Tavern. And that was on the railroad tracks in downtown Decatur. And a guy named Jimmy Mongelo and David Aldrich opened this little bar. And my roommate and I used to run by it, and we watched them build it out. And I was a probation officer at the Fulton County Juvenile Court at the time. But we said that, when this bar opens, we're going to be here every night because we were young and we could. And we did. And I ended up being the first person they hired, other than the 2 of them, to help run the little Trackside Tavern. And it was a little bitty joint. But we were basically packed on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for football and basketball and whatever. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it struggled. So I already had met a goodly number of Atlanta musicians and pickers and players, songwriters, and I said, well, why don't you let me do a little something on the weekdays to try to drive some business. And so we started doing in the rounds. I'd met Amy Curlin from Nashville at a food conference, and she said that she turned her little cafe around by doing these writers' rounds because the Nashville songwriters would come eat at her cafe. And I said, well, what does that mean? She said, well, I just bring 3 or 4 of them in at a time, and they swap songs and do one song. And I said, well, hell, that sounds like a great idea. So I started pitching that among the Atlanta crowd, and we started doing it there at Trackside.
What year was this? What year was that?
That would have been 86, 87, right in there.
Now, Eddie, is Trackside, did that become the Freight Room?
Nope, it was across the tracks from the Freight.
Oh, okay.
Freight Room was on one side of the tracks, and we were on the other.
Oh, okay.
And I used to, at slow times, if we had 2 bartenders, I would, walk out of Trackside across the tracks and go to the Freight Room.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had great music, and I loved it. And their forte was pickers.
Mm-hmm.
Bluegrass pickers, and I heard some great music at the Freight Room. But we were across the tracks, and I guess about 1990 when we were doing this, 91, we really outgrew that little space, and I found a space up on the square that was the old Belt Gallant building. And it was upstairs, and it was dilapidated, and there was holes in the roof, and it was nasty. But the Patillo family owned the building, and they I approached them and they built it out, and we became a little restaurant music venue, and it was it started something big, I guess. I don't know, 91.
That was the Attic, right?
That was Eddie's Attic in
Yeah. Okay.
1991.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So are you an Atlanta native?
I am. Well, I sort of am. I grew up on the south side down in Henry County.
Okay.
But I've been here my whole life, so 70 years in
Yeah.
the Atlanta area.
Okay.
You know what? You and I are actually natives then. We're actually native Georgians.
Yeah.
Craig,
Not many of us.
there aren't many of us left. There really aren't. There really aren't. But so were you in Stockbridge or
Yep. I went to Stockbridge High School, Stockbridge
Okay.
Elementary School, graduated in 1972, and matriculated to Georgia State University on a tennis scholarship.
Golly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Matriculate. That's a good word we should use often.
It is a very
like
good word. And they put
On a
us up
tennis
in
scholarship.
apartments there in downtown Decatur. There was a bus line on MARTA called the 86 Lithonia Limited, and its last stop was at the post office in Decatur before the next stop was at Georgia State University. So I used to ride that Lithonia Limited every day to Georgia State, and the days I didn't ride it, we ran. A couple of guys and I, because we'd have to get our road work in. So it's about 7 miles or so, and we'd run from Decatur to Georgia State. So
Oh, okay. All right.
That's it. So I was going to ask you about so you got into having musicians. You found this place and you created a diner and that kind of thing, and you had the idea already of having songwriters come in with songwriters in the round, which I think a lot of people will recognize that phrase from the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. That's probably
that was Amy's place, the place I was talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, and you
didn't
didn't
wanna
mention
drop
that. That's who
names.
that was. Did you say the name of the place? I must have
didn't.
missed it.
I
Okay,
He didn't. But
yeah, I guess she did turn it around.
She did.
yeah, she kind of turned it
Wow.
around. Okay. Yeah.
Spun it, man. So go ahead, Mark. I see something.
Well, I was
bubbling
just
up
going to
there.
say, you obviously love music. Are you a musician yourself? Have you?
I suck at it. My talent's knowing the ones that don't suck.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you recognize talent, but you don't see it in yourself. Is that what you're in music talent?
It's more like a fun hobby for me to write and sing and play. I definitely am not good enough to be booked at my own stage ever, whether it was Trackside or Eddie's Attic or the Red Clay. I'm not at that level.
Okay. I mean, that's all right. That's all right. But, I think it's really, as I said, anybody who's a musician in Atlanta knows Eddie's Attic. And it's kind of interesting for me to kind of hear the history of that, because I like I said, I've been there many times myself to see friends sing, and I didn't really know how it got started. It was just, if you come to Decatur, you have to go to Eddie's Attic. You have to go, it was the Freight Room and Eddie's Attic were the two places that I went and saw people sing. And so when what kind of music, you obviously book all kinds of music. What kind of music do you listen to when you're not booking people? What's your?
It's all over the map.
Okay. So it's like your taste and what you book.
Yeah. And the whole reason behind Eddie's Attic was that there really wasn't in 1991. If you were a singer-songwriter, you either had to be able to fill up the Fox or Symphony Hall, or that really was it. I mean, you had two places you could play, and if you couldn't, bring in over 1,500 people, you really had no venue in Atlanta. Or you could go to. There was some places that were open, but it was not conducive to listening to a song, being drawn in by a songwriter. And so that was my vision, have a room where I could stand on the stage and introduce this act and tell people, look, you don't have to shut up, but you do if you're going to stay in here, or either way. you suit yourself. You can shut up and
You know
listen.
what, man? I've played the Attic several times, and that was the one thing that I realized. It was just another world, because every play I'm a gigging musician. Sometimes I do 35, 40 gigs a month. And one of the thing about musicians, sometimes people are really listening. Most often they're, clanking, dishes and talking and asking you to turn down. And that's the main thing I noticed about Eddie's Attic that sticks out in my mind, is how you all just, because I think I remember that phrase. I think I remember you actually saying that, and I went,
Yeah.
I like this guy.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like
I
this
did.
guy.
I used
Like this
it
guy
every
a
night.
lot. He's a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Did you know that Mark Waldron, my partner with Songwriters Tales, is the son of the producer and creator of the Dukes of Hazzard? That's right. And if you go to episode number 24, you're going to meet Timothy Baker, who is an artist living in Nashville, but from Hazard, Kentucky. Go there.
I did the intro for every show I ever did there, and that was my spiel.
Yeah,
You
I
have to.
remember that.
Now, at the Red Clay, I don't have to do that because it's just conducive. You sit down in a theater seat, and hey, I'm supposed to be attentive here.
Yeah, it's got that whole.
I don't have to harp on that.
Exactly.
Eddie's Attic, I had to harp on it because selling bourbon and hamburgers was how I really made a living there.
Mm-hmm.
Never made a dime off music, ever.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Mark, what you got? You something bubbling up?
No, I was just going to say, it's funny you say that, Craig. I was at Chastain Park one time, and I was there to watch James Taylor. And he was talking about a song, and he was about to start playing, and then he just stopped. And he was just kind of looking down, and people were like, what is this guy doing? And all of a sudden we realized he was staring at these two housewives sitting down at a table, just yakking away. And all of a sudden they realized that he wasn't talking anymore, and they looked up, and he was looking right at them. And he said, no, go ahead and finish your story so I can sing my song. And the crowd erupted.
I love it.
Even in venues like that, musicians are background noise sometimes, no matter how big they are.
Nothing against housewives.
No, but these two, he basically was like, no, go ahead and finish your story.
Oh my gosh, man. That's funny. All right. Mark, I know you got another question. Hit us up.
Well, yeah. So you said you got your idea for the music from Amy at the Bluebird. Did you? Because she's famous for kind of saying the same thing. It's like, I have seen people get physically tossed out of the Bluebird for talking during a songwriter set, and because I'd heard that they do that, and I thought, no, they don't really do that. Yeah, they really do that. There was a big dude that walked over and tapped people on the shoulder and said, "Out." And so did you get that idea from her, or was that just kind of a, hey man, these people are here up there singing, let's show a little respect?
Well, the idea of the round came, but no, I came up with that. Listen to the music or go somewhere else on my own. And it started at Trackside, really, before Eddie's Attic. So I would. Because we had a bunch of regulars, and they would come in and be rowdy and loud and noisy. And we had a little room that had some dartboards in it, and I would say, "Hey, I'll buy you a drink if you'll go back to the dartboard." Just get the hell out of here. And then I'd appreciate them even more on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when we didn't have music. When they would come in, and I'd be crazy with them and appreciate them. But when they would come in on the Monday through Thursday when we were having music, I was like, no.
Now, did you do music every night during the week, or just like some nights?
No, most of them. Most because we didn't do anything else. It was dead on those nights. So, but when the, regular would come in, I'd make sure they were comfortable and just somewhere else.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not in front of where the musicians were playing and singing.
Mm-hmm. I wanna take a side trip here. So you've had a lot of artists come through your place. Are there, and I'm sure there's a few that stick out in your mind that you remember when they were still trying to almost figure out how to keep their guitar in tune, and then all of a sudden the next thing you know, I'm thinking, I'm not gonna guess because I don't want to mention somebody that really wasn't there that I was thinking was there. So can you just tell us some of the artists that at the beginning of the Attic, how some of the ones that came through that are just now almost household names that weren't when they started coming through there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now through Trackside, I'd already met and befriended a ton of great Atlanta artists.
Okay.
Indigo Girls, Sean Mullins, Michelle Malone, uh, Uncle Mark Reynolds, Billy Pilgrim, which was Andrew Hiron, Christian Bush. There were a ton. That
Yeah.
Dee Dee Vogt, God, I love Dee Dee Vogt, and I don't even think she's in music anymore, but she was a mover and a shaker. So I mean that started really at Trackside, and then at Eddie's Attic, the folks that came through that I met that were new, quote, newbies to the scene, people like John Mayer and
Yeah.
Zach Brown and Jennifer Nettles,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a bunch of them that
Yeah, there
were
are.
doing open mics or coming in for their first shows. I mean, Jennifer was a freshman at Agnes Scott right up the street from Eddie's Attic and across the street from Trackside. And I wouldn't have known Jennifer if my wife hadn't been working at Agnes Scott. And she said, "Hey, there's this young girl over here that's just singing her ass off, and you ought to see if she'll come play your open mic." And so we recruited her, literally, to play the open.
Cool.
Zach, I'd met his daddy somewhere. I don't remember where, in something, but he said, "Man, I've got this son that's a songwriter, and he needs to come." I said, "Well, bring him to the open mics. Let him come and play." And he did. John moved down here from, he was born and raised in Connecticut, but he met Clay Cook, who's an Atlanta boy, Stone Mountain, actually. He met Clay at Berkeley, where they both matriculated for 1 year and then said, "That's enough of college for us."
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't go back to Connecticut. He came to Atlanta with Clay. And Clay's daddy brought them to their first open mic because if you were under 21, you had to have a accompaniment.
Mm-hmm.
So Clay's daddy brought him in, and they played the open mic, and it was pretty cool. So there's a bunch of those kind of stories.
Yeah. Hi, this is Craig with Songwriter's Tales with Mark and Craig. Be sure to go back and check out our earlier episodes like episode 2 and episode 3, where you can find out about Mark and Craig and who are we?